Welcome back. We have disturbing reports of yet another mass killing in Iraq by ISIS. According to the Yazidi Progress Political Party, the terrorist group reportedly killed 300 Yazidis near the city of Mosul. No details have been released about how or why they were killed, but this latest atrocity comes after about 40,000 Yazidis were kidnapped at gunpoint last summer. Joining us now, former intelligence officer and advisor to General David Petraeus, Colonel Derek Harvey, who Skypes in from Tampa. Colonel Harvey, the Yazidis are one of the world's smallest and oldest religious minorities. It seems that any punishment of them would evoke worldwide sympathies. So what on earth does ISIS gain by killing these people?
Well, they're not really concerned about the impact internationally. They are focused on an agenda, an ideological agenda, which is to cleanse the region of people that they consider non-believers, give them a chance to convert to Islam, and if they do not, then they're going to execute them.
And so these executions of Yazidis follow executions of Christians, and as I understand it, some Muslims who may disagree theologically with the modern caliphate. Do you see any signs that ISIS will change its ways anytime in the near future?
There is no chance that they're going to change their ways in the near future. They're not going to change their ways, period. They believe in what they're doing, and this is part of an intimidation, coercion campaign to influence other Yazidis that are prisoners in order, in my view, to get them to see the better course of action, survive, and convert to Islam. That's what this is about, in my judgment.
Literally conversion by the sword.
Absolutely.
Colonel, let's switch gears to Yemen, because as I understand it, hundreds of American citizens are trapped there because our government claims it's too risky to mount a rescue. But isn't one of the clearly defined roles of our military to rescue endangered Americans abroad?
That's the truth, JD. And military people sign up for risky missions. No one goes into the military thinking that this is going to be a life without risk. Military members, when I was in, we believed in our mission, we took risk, we wanted to take a risk for the greater good. That's what it's all about. We've got Americans who are at risk, who need to be rescued, and the tolerance level for risk in this administration is very, very low, and they need to change their perspective.
Now, the State Department says it hopes that American citizens will find their own way back to the U.S. But is that possible in this situation if our military doesn't intervene?
Well, it's going to be very difficult because the country is isolated. There's really no shipping in and out. The airports are closed. And the only way would be for a rescue operation of some sort, an evacuation through a port that would be secured or an airfield. I think there's an element here where the U.S. government believes that these people had plenty of warning, that most of them are of Yemeni background. They have family and ties in the area, and it's just not a high priority for the State Department. That's what I think.
Colonel, let's talk some about Iran in the 2 minutes that remain. On the floor of the U.S. Senate, a whole lot of conservative Republicans are pushing amendments demanding more of Iran in that proposed legislation. So the president is threatening to veto any bill that he believes might jeopardize this international agreement on nukes. The Iranians want sanctions lifted immediately after signing a deal. In your opinion, sir, should any sanctions be lifted that quickly?
No, absolutely not. There has to be a rigorous approach of gradual reduction of the sanctions, and let's see if the Iranians actually hold up to their end of the bargain. Unfortunately, the Iranians believe they've already gotten agreements from the U.S. administration that sanctions will be lifted, congressional sanctions will be lifted, and that they will get access to not only $50 billion in holdings of theirs that are being held overseas, but up to the $140 billion that are held in banks around the world. They think this is a done deal, and I'm not sure the administration has not already made these agreements, and they're just trying to cover their backside, if you know what I mean, domestically here in the United States in order to get the deal passed.
We heard talk, gosh, about 6 months ago of separate side agreements the Americans were making. In your mind, for all intents and purposes, are those side agreements in place? It seems that's what you're saying.
I really do think this administration has, if it's not an official side agreement, they have come to an understanding with Tehran about the way forward. I believe that they accept the idea of an Iranian nuclear power in the region, and that they're going to try to assuage allies, friends, and our frenemies in the area not to pursue the nuclear proliferation agenda. Unfortunately, the administration has no credibility with the others in the region, our friends and our allies, and I think it's just going to let the genie out of the bottle.
Well, on that note, Colonel Derek Harvey, as always, we appreciate your incisive analysis on these troubling reports worldwide. Sir, thank you so much for your time on Newsmax Prime. We look forward to having you back again in the not-too-distant future. And Newsmax Prime will be right back right after this.